Hello, hello, everyone. Raywin Guerrero here, the Gutsy Executive Coach, and I am joined today by my friend and colleague, Jen Beck, registered nutrition consultant. Jen and I are in the Gluten Free Lifestyle Summit in honor of Celiac Awareness Month for the month of May. So, Jen, I want to ask you a few questions about your topic, ending your cravings for good. Can you tell us a little bit about why you've chosen that topic, and maybe even a little backstory into how you got into this work?
Sure. So I have been in nutrition coaching for the last 22 years. I got started because my mom's health, she had multiple sclerosis, and at the age of 49, went from living on her own to being in a nursing home in about 6 weeks. And that was after being on all the preventative medications. So I really was looking for something to help her. And given the medications weren't working, I went researching alternative medicine and nutrition and anything that could help her. And based on what I learned, I had met a woman that had MS for 26 years, just like my mom. And by her having a great lifestyle of nutrition and diet and exercise and supplements and things like that, she was virtually untouched after 26 years of having MS. And like I said, my mom was in a nursing home. And when I asked her what she did, she said, well, I'm not in any of the drugs. My husband, the pharmacist, didn't believe in them, which I was a little shocked by. But she said she built her body up with diet, supplements, and exercise. Those are three things my mom never really did. But I went back to school for nutrition and really learned a ton with the stuff that I learned and the experience that I had. We were able to get her out of the nursing home into a group home. And she passed just before her 65th birthday. And the doctor said that we easily extended her life by at least 5 to 10 years and tremendously impacted her health and improved the quality of her health in her life from the changes that we made in diet and lifestyle. We couldn't really do a whole lot of the exercise stuff. She never really reclaimed her strength, but she did. Her immune system was boosted, her mental clarity had improved, and really added more years to her life. So that for me, Raywin, really, it launched me into not just a career, but really more of a mission. I always had grown up believing that doctors had all the answers, and if we just listen to them, they'll tell us what to do. And in my mom's case, I really felt like the doctors and the medications failed her. So I'm now on a mission to be able to help people really reclaim their health, to know that just because you have a diagnosis, just because you have a health condition does not mean that that's the end of the road or your only option is to just deal with it. You really can reclaim your health and recharge your life by making simple lifestyle changes.
Amen. Everything about what you have just said has literally struck me to the core, because I have a very, very similar story. It was my grandfather and anxiety and dementia, and the dementia was brought on by multiple strokes that were brought on by overuse of pharmaceuticals, because he had been on drugs for about 20 years, and that causes atherosclerosis, and that leads to vascular dementia and all these sorts of other things that, the same thing, we trusted blind. His nephew was a doctor, so he was just getting his scripts refilled all the time. And that was, growing up that way, thinking doctors were everything and they had all the answers. And I keep telling people, I said, health is not found in a doctor's office. It's found at the end of your fork. And Mark Hyman says that. He says that that's the first place that you can start. And he was my first foray into functional medicine, right at the same point that I was dealing with all my IBS and my anxiety and all the things that were going on with me back in 2015, 2016. Stuff, and I tried multiple diets and different things, vegan, paleo, blah, blah, blah. Actually, I was never a vegan. I was a vegetarian. Terrible idea for me. It might work for some people. And this is the thing, the human body is so nuanced. Like one thing works for one person, it doesn't necessarily work for another. And that's why it's so important for us to know what's going on with your own individual health. And, you were talking about your mom was never really someone who liked to exercise. So, getting her to that point where she can incorporate that into her life, it just wasn't something that was ever going to happen, even though we know that there are so many benefits to being mobile. And because we say, exercise is immune protective, it's also neuroprotective. It's metabolically protective. Like it's all these great things. It basically extends your life. So if you're moving, now, not everybody's going to want to move in the same way. I used to love to run. I some people are like, I'm never going to run. But if they can walk, that might be enough. If they do yoga or Pilates or something, Tai Chi, whatever it is, like movement is medicine. And food, as we know, can be very, very powerful and transformative. So I love that you've turned that really sad, it could have been a really, really sad story into something that's actually helping lots of people, helped your mother, has given you a new purpose and fire and zest for life. I feel like that's what sometimes these things show up in our lives for. They literally show up. I call it the Damascus moment. Like you come to Jesus and you gotta basically are headed on a whole new path, and with fervor, with real fervor to get people to wake up to what they need to do to live happier, healthier lives.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like, I think back to when I was living in my 20s. I was living on a half a pot of coffee, a couple Diet Mountain Dews, like snacks for Skittles, Twizzlers, and Snickers, and I ate fast food pretty much every day for lunch. Like, yeah, and to look at where I'm at now, and it didn't happen in one day, but I feel really fortunate because of my background, I can really meet people with where they're at. Like, nobody can go, oh my gosh, you have no idea. I'm so bad. I'm so this. I'm like, you've not done anything that I probably haven't done and done for years. So let's just be real. But the great thing is that you can go from wherever you start to have an amazing, abundant, energy-filled life that's healthy and thriving as soon as you decide to.
Yeah.
And then it's just about layering in the baby steps and making the mindset changes and the mentality changes to support that and turn it into a lifestyle versus just another diet or another pill or another program.
That's absolutely 100% how it needs to be. Because if we think of, changing your food as just being like, oh, I'm going to be on a diet, you're going to fail. Diets fail. But if you think of it as like, I'm doing this for myself, I'm saying yes to myself, for my children. If you find out the why you're doing it, you're more likely to stay on track and more likely to just, to be able to kind of convert everybody else around you too. Like, one of my missions is like to teach people how to get well and stay well using natural solutions, and that way they can empower people around them to do the same. It's actually it's the mantra or the motto, if you want, the mission statement of where I trained in functional nutrition. So it's, our mission is to educate others on how to stay well naturally so that they can empower and educate others to do the same. So I feel like you are on such a phenomenal road. Tell us about ending your cravings for good. I want to understand that because I'm a person, I used to have like a real sweet tooth, like really, really bad. And later on, I discovered from doing my lab work and all that stuff, it was like, oh, you got candida. I'm like, oh, candida craves sweets. Like, so craves sugar. So tell me about what you are, your talk that you are going to be doing with the wonderful Jennifer Marks from the Gluten-Free Lifestyle Summit.
Yeah. So I think with cravings, they're so common. And so many women and men rely on willpower. Like, I'm just going to say no. Well, sugar is more addictive than cocaine. And we're like, oh, I'm just going to say no. But if you put a pile of cocaine in front of a cocaine addict, think about how difficult it would be to say no to that. But sugar is in everything. It's societally acceptable, socially acceptable. And we're like, oh, I'm just going to use willpower. It's fine. I'm just going to abstain. So we've got to understand that there is a physical component to cravings, and there's also a mental and emotional component to cravings.
Yes.
And we only focus on the willpower, we're going to be fighting ourselves all the time. So many diets set us up for cravings because of the all or nothing mentality. It's the complete and total, like, can't have any sugar, no carbs, no fruit, no any of that. And yet we're naturally wired for sugar because it's fast energy. So we've really got to look at, why do we crave sugar in the first place? Is it a physical craving? Do you have candida, as you pointed out? Do we have low blood sugar? And so our blood sugar tanks because we ate too many carbs in one sitting, or simple carbs. And now our blood sugar, our body is going, I need more energy. Give me something fast to get me back up to functioning level. So we've got to address the physical piece of it. And we also need to address the mental and emotional piece of it. If you pause before you eat and you can fix what you're craving with an apple or broccoli, that's probably more of a physical. But if you can't, and you're like, nothing is going to satisfy that, then you've got to figure out, how do I replace, or how do I fulfill my life versus just filling my belly. And so in the segment that I do with Jennifer, I actually give you the acronym to help you create that the moment where you can be able to make a choice and really have that backup plan so you can live a fulfilled life. You can tame the cravings and you can choose when and what you want to indulge with, because it is super simple if you have the right model to be able to follow. And that's exactly what I teach during my session with Jennifer.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So it sounds like it's such a comprehensive mind body holistic approach, and it is very aligned with everything that I also do, because you can't only focus. And I love that you talked about willpower, that it's something that I try to get across to clients when they first come to me. I always start with testing. So my approach is we say we test, we don't guess. Because someone says, oh, I've been trying to lose weight, or I've been trying to get rid of this, I don't know, sinus problem, seasonal allergies, whatever it is that they're dealing with, fatigue, anxiety. I'm like, well, let's see if there is a biochemical component to what's actually going on, because it could be that, yes, you're being exposed to things, but there might be something internal going on with you as well, right? So let's check that out. So for my clients who say, oh, I have a real sweet tooth, I can't get rid of, I'll never be able to give up chocolate. I let them know straight up. I say, 57% of your microbiome is actually non-human DNA. So that means you are being run by more microorganisms than you actually are being run by your human self. And if those microorganisms they're overgrowing in the wrong ways, let's say it is like something like a parasite, candida, fungus, mold, whatever, bacteria, some sort of bacterial infection, those things all crave sugar. So if you are telling yourself, oh, I'm trying to quit eating, I don't know, potato chips and pizza and donuts and all the things that are very commonplace in our society, and they are put in front of us all the time, but you can't resist that, that's actually giving me clues that, okay, our testing needs to really examine and see what's going on with your gut microbiome and the balance of the microbes in there. Because if you have this overgrowth of harmful or pathogenic microorganisms, you are going to be more predisposed to having these types of cravings. And it's nothing to do with, your willpower. And they make you tired too, because they suck up all your nutrition. You don't get any of the things that you need. So you're more likely to not have a ton of energy, to be feeling fatigued, probably not sleeping well, probably feeling pretty anxious and moody and, up and down, volatile. So I love that your entire. I want to hear the acronym. I can't wait for the summit. I want to know what it is, but we got to hold out. So folks, you got to tune in to this incredible month. We've got a whole month of incredible speakers who are coming to bring you all their knowledge, all their love and passion for helping you get well and helping you stay well so that you can do all the things in your life that you're meant to be doing with energy and joy. So Jen, is there anything you want to share with us, before we sign out? Is there anything you want to share with our viewers, our listeners?
There's so many juicy details that I give during my session with Jennifer that I don't want to spoil the fun of that. The one thing I just would love to just remind everybody of is that you have the power to reclaim your health, as you said, Raylene, at the end of your fork. It does not take overhauling everything in one day. It does take some intentional changes and really stepping back and looking at where you're at now. What can you do? And just start with a baby step, whether it's adding a little extra water or adding an extra vegetable or decreasing something else you're indulging in and replacing it with something else. It doesn't have to take overhauling your entire life in one day for you to feel amazing and look 10 years younger and reclaim your health 100%.
I love it. I'm just so blown away, and I'm really excited about this event. Celiac disease is so rampant right now. Autoimmune conditions in general are on the rise. I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's 1 in 44 children are now diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. It has quadrupled. I think it's actually 300 times more. It's not even quadruple. It's 300 times more than it was, maybe 50 years ago. So there's so many. And then there's 1 in 2 women are going to be diagnosed with cancer. So we have all these stats where we're becoming sicker quicker, even though we're living longer, but we're not living better. So there's so much that we can do in order to be able to not just add, years to our lives, but to add life to our years. And I feel like that is the message that I want people to walk away with, that like, yes, we can live long. And, you know, eating healthily as well does not have to be a death sentence. You know, my mother, unfortunately, she passed away due to cancer. So that's one of the reasons that I am extremely passionate about what I do now, because she was someone who ate all the things, like everything that you're not supposed to eat, and refused to listen to reason because her doctor told her that nothing she ate would make a difference to her cancer, you know, which was super frustrating for me to deal with, like really, really hard. You know, because I typed up this whole, like, I was like, okay, here's your supplement plan, here's your meal plan, run it past your doctor. She said he never even looked at it, and he just said, it doesn't matter. Nothing you do is going to even make a difference. It's just chemo and surgery, and that's all you can do. And because of that, her chemo actually ended up, the cancer didn't actually kill her. The chemo is the thing that killed her, which is, like I said, just so frustrating on so many levels. And it's why I do this work. Like, you know, my grandfather was a big catalyst, but what happened to her was also so dramatic and really hard to witness, because cancer is not quick. It's slow. It's slow and it's yucky. Really, really yucky for everybody involved, for the patient as well as the family. So, you know, someone who loved all the sweets, she had all these cravings all the time. And I wish she had let me run my labs and all those things on her, because I feel like we would have pinpointed exactly what was going on with her. But instead, you know, she stuck with the conventional route, and it didn't serve her. So my whole ethos is to make sure that nobody else on my watch goes down that route, because there's so much that we can do. If you make your health a priority, and you do it in the way where you know that lifestyle is the priority rather than medications, because medications never equal health, right? You don't, bottom line, like you don't have
you don't have an aspirin deficiency.
I was just going to say, you don't have a Xanax deficiency, right? If you have anxiety, it's not a Xanax deficiency. It's probably you're not absorbing protein. Your neurotransmitters are made of protein. You're not eating enough protein. You might be a vegan. You might be, you know, there are lots of reasons why someone might not be up to par. And a lot of it can be changed, because we have seen it. There's research from Stanford University. It says 95% of all chronic illness is lifestyle related. And I recently saw Dr. Bruce Lipton, who actually helped pioneer that research. And he said it was like 99% is lifestyle related. So that means only 1% is down to your genetics. That means there's a ton of power. And that's why I say that my program has become the CEO of your health, because if you can be in charge of your own health, then that means you're the one who has the power. You are in the driver's seat. You're not handing that over to someone else. So I feel like we're in such good company with Jennifer, with you, with Amy, with Martha. Martha's actually an FDN as well. Like all the other speakers who are going to be on this summit. We have some amazing, incredible speakers who are going to be bringing you their phenomenal stories of transformation, as well as the stories of how they've helped people who have, I met a woman on the weekend, multiple sclerosis, same thing, in her 60s, was diagnosed 25 years ago, not in a wheelchair, thriving, super happy. She does not actually claim to have multiple sclerosis anymore, but that's what her diagnosis was 25 years ago. And she fixed all of it with nutrition and lifestyle. I was at KetoCon, so that's all about like a ketogenic diet. Yeah, so I was at KetoCon in Austin, and I met some really, really inspiring, amazing people who have reversed brain tumors, all sorts of phenomenal things. So it was really cool, and it just, like, even now talking about, I get goosebumps. I just get so excited about what is possible for people if they only start believing and learning about what their bodies are saying to them.
Yeah, absolutely. It is amazing how powerful and how unique, amazingly designed our bodies really are.
They are so brilliant. So brilliant. We call it the innate intelligence. The innate intelligence is there to help you. So with that, we are going to share some links at the bottom of this so that you can sign up to the summit. It begins in May. It runs for an entire month. And like we said, tons of experts, tons of gifts, tons of giveaways, lots of cool things that are happening. Jen's giving away something as well. Jennifer's definitely giving away things. So Jennifer Marks is the founder of the summit. And then we have Jen here, who's with me, who is going to be talking about ending your cravings for good and sharing her method on how to do that. So I'm excited for seeing that. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for setting this up and for the chat. It's been amazing to getting to know you a little bit better and being able to just let people know about the summit and what's possible.
Yeah, exactly. So folks, we will see you hopefully very soon. See you in the summit.